I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, the devotees of the Lord's incarnations, His plenary portions, His energies, and the primeval Lord Himself, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance, and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. The offering is entitled Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Moon. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. The original spiritual master, Sri Balaram, or Sri Nityananda Prabhu, is compared to a transcendental moon. The moon reflects the light of the sun and spreads it in its own ways for the benefit of others. For instance, it gives juice and flavor to fruits and vegetables, and it creates a cooling effect during the summer season. Thus, Sri Chaitanya is compared to the sun, and Sri Nityananda is compared to the moon. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada has displayed the sun of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, life and mission for the benefit of the world. Moreover, he has manifested many moon-like pure devotees who act as representatives of Sri Nityananda by compassionately distributing the holy name of the Lord and the process of pure devotional service. Here I like to reflect about you, Guru Maharaj, as Srila Prabhupada's transcendental moon, because you are wonderfully reflecting his teachings and character. In his book entitled Many Moons, your god brother and friend, Giriraj Swami Maharaj writes, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami compares the devotees of Lord Chaitanya to moons. All glories to the moons, who are devotees of the principal moon, Lord Chaitanya Chandra. Their bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. Such devotees are moons because they can illuminate the darkness of the night. But how? By reflecting the light of the sun, Krishna and his associates. As Srila Prabhupada explains, the sun has the ability to shine powerfully, and the moons reflect the sunshine and therefore look brilliant. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is described to be like the sun. The Supreme Powerful is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his devotees are also bright and illuminating because they reflect the Supreme Sun. End quote. You are reflecting the rays of Srila Prabhupada's teachings and personality in your books, in your personal character, in your heart-to-heart dealings with others, in your simplicity, in your genuine love and care, and in your aloofness from the conventional world. It is telling that in your autobiography, written in a free writing style, Srila Prabhupada is prominently present throughout its 3 volumes. The ways to represent Sri Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, nevertheless, are not stereotyped, but demonstrate a highly component of personal creativity and expression. Such uniqueness in expressing your Krishna consciousness highly motivates thoughtful and sensible people to surrender to Krishna and to Srila Prabhupada's mission in their own singular ways, according to their psychophysical and spiritual personalities, their natural inclinations, and the inspiration Krishna gives them from within. Many such personalities who follow you take up great commitment and sacrifice for spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. This is your credit, Guru Maharaj. As Srila Prabhupada told once to his disciple, Lohitaksha Das, if you are able to do something good, this is not your credit. But if you are able to get others to do something good, this is your credit. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj, for being Srila Prabhupada's transcendental moon. Please bless us so that we can follow in your footsteps, inspiring others to surrender to Prabhupada and Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Being in Stuyvesant Falls and allowing me to render some service unto you. It's a very enjoyable, satisfying part of my life, and I appreciate all that you do and all of the people that are around you do, and I'm thankful to be in the position I'm in, and it's all due to your mercy. Thank you very much.
The first book I ever read in Krishna consciousness was the Narada Bhakti Sutras, which you had just published. So it's just, my timing was good. So there's a verse in the Bhakti Sutras that says that the devotees make the place holy by their presence. And so that verse stuck with me immediately, but I didn't know that later on you would come live with us and make this whole kind of funky upstate New York town into a tirtha, into a place of pilgrimage. And so actually that's really all due to my husband. It's not, I can't take any credit. In fact, I complain a lot. You guys should all know that. Just know the truth. But somehow I married the right person who then brought the devotees here, and by that I've gotten a lot of mercy and a lot of enjoyment, actually, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for giving me opportunity to do little service to mercy of two Baldev Prabhus.
Journal, I was very unhappy when it stopped a while ago, and so I'm happy that back on track. Reflecting the moonlight of Srila Prabhupada, as Yadunanda Maharaj was saying, Srila Prabhupada's greatness is something that forever and ever will be more and more discovered, understood, and appreciated. He was with us only 10 or 12 years, and all the immediate devotees were very, very young, and now some 40, 50 years has passed, and you're all along, ever since you joined right at the beginning in 1966, deeply appreciated Srila Prabhupada, and you've spent your entire devotional life glorifying, chronicling, and just expressing the glories of Srila Prabhupada in so many different ways. And as time goes by, two things tend to go this way and that and maybe drift, but then at the same time, those permanent and essential eternal truths and gifts, they stand out more bright and become much more appreciable by the sincere. So your books are, along with Srila Prabhupada's books, certainly have and will stand the test of time, and will more and more give people the great gift of Srila Prabhupada's exceptional bhakti. There's the verse in the Adi Leela that the Lord only propounds the Sankirtan movement with his most confidential devotees. And for me, it's a very great comfort to read your books and read Prabhupada's books equally parallel every single day, and try to do a little something for Srila Prabhupada and for yourself. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
I have Bhadra's offering to read to us if he couldn't come today. But just for myself, certain humble basis. I was recently listening to your memories of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON Desire-Tree, because I was doing a lot of traveling, and I felt so much bliss. The more I listened, the more blissful I felt. And it reminded me of when the volumes of Srila Prabhupada Lamrita, each volume would come out, and I'd go on a marathon reading them. And I just felt so much, not just with the Srila Prabhupada Lamrita, but in subsequent writings as well. I felt so much brought into Srila Prabhupada's presence, and could give my heart by that stimuli to his mood and mission, understanding his mood and mission. So it has a major impact on my ability to sustain my spiritual life, that connection with Srila Prabhupada that you gave to me. But not just to me, but hundreds, thousands of devotees also were enabled, to go on with strength in their spiritual lives because of your writings. Another point that I've been reflecting on, came up here with Hari Ashra Prabhu, and we were reading the Japa Reform Notebook, and there's a paraphrase from the purport of Madhya 22:113, the Smartavya Satam Vishnu Ishmartavya Jatushet verse, where that all the rules and regulations, all the rules and prohibitions should be simply servants of that one should never forget Krishna and always remember him. So then in the purport, Prabhupada says that of all the instruction to the spiritual master, the chanting of 16 rounds is the most essential. And you very clearly paraphrased that when we were reading yesterday in the Japa Reform Notebook. But my experience right from the very beginning of my devotional service, you put an incredible emphasis on japa. And then when the Japa Reform Notebook came out in '82, it just was my guide. And then right around that time you were coming to, I was in the Philadelphia temple, and you were coming and giving japa classes there. And it was just such an emphasis. So I understood at that point that if I wanted to advance in Krishna consciousness, it was primarily dependent upon how much I cried to the holy name during my japa. So I'm deeply appreciative of that gift. But two gifts, those the Srila Prabhupada's, understanding his mood and mission, and also this emphasis on japa. I've got to open up this. Maybe I come back and read Bhadra so I don't waste time.
Okay.
I'm finding it again on the phone.
I'm
Thank you
receiving
very much.
different jazz puja homages.
I'm sorry?
I am receiving different jazz puja homages on email.
Okay, so maybe that's better to do it that way.
Yeah, I want to read Bhadra's.
Okay.
Bhagavad Brahma.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Namaham Vishnu Padam Krishna Krishna Bhutala Srimati Satsvarupa Daska Swamiti Namanam Satsvarupa Viranga Niminitam Sari Bhushanam Bhakti Grantanam Nakunam Bhakti Granta Shikshitam. All glories to your most divine-like, lotus-like feet on this very most auspicious day of your absolutely most special 2018 Vyasa Puja Day. I wish to not remain a bad boy by my inexcusable negligence in terms of reading your ever kind and blissful writings, following in the footsteps of Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
So I figured something out, Guru Maharaj. I was going to tell you that I am a little nervous today, but I know if I say it, then it helps me go through it. But I was thinking about you this morning. John Mastami was, everyone was finishing up their offerings. And I said, well, I can only just, I like to think about you. So first I like to say I was thinking about, as we chant the prayers, Guru Astaga, in the morning, the spiritual master, displaying the character, mindset, and the service of the spiritual master. And it's so glorious. And when I hear those prayers, I used to always think of Prabhupada exclusively, to tell you the truth. But when I hear those prayers, I think of you. When I worship the deity, don't ask me why, I think of you. You know, you just come into my mind. So your position is there, it's understood. But, and my offering is simply, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I say that because I'm thanking you for so many gifts that you've given us. For me personally, all I really wanted in life was to really be able to love and know and serve Srila Prabhupada. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to serve Krishna properly. But I said, if I get to Prabhupada, he'll take me. But I wasn't that smart. But by serving you, the first thing you were giving up was Srila Prabhupada. You know, Prabhupada Leela Amrita. You know, Prabhupada meditations. Here's Srila Prabhupada. You were just Prabhupada nectar. You were giving us Srila Prabhupada like it wouldn't be possible for me to get Srila Prabhupada. And it was saturated with such affection that I got it, it's okay. But then I also thank you again for the association that you've brought me into. The association of your God brothers and sisters who've been so kind over the years. I listen to them and, you know, talk about the holy name. And I get so enthused. And after I become enthused at listening to them, they send me, I run back to you. When I get back to you, I feel a little sad that these are the same things you've been telling me for 30-something years. And somehow or another I've missed it. I'm hearing it now. So I listen closely. So when I think about it, I thank you for that. And then I thank you for the association of my God brothers and sisters. When I hear them glorify you and they make offerings, I feel again enthused that someone can understand the sweetness of the person who's saving our life. But I really, really thank you for all these literatures that you've given. That's going to help me, our brothers and sisters, and so many people in the future. You're right, I got to get to that website. But I'm spending so much time with the old books. It's so much nectar in the old books. I can't believe it. So every time I get with my God brothers, I start telling them what I'm reading and we share it. I just want to say I thank you so very much for being the most wonderful person I've ever met. Thank you very much.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Happy Vyasa Puja. I would like to reflect and appreciate your daily meditation and commitment to Srila Prabhupada and Radha Govinda, and your realization that you share with us. When I addressed Radha Govinda and I asked, quote, Guru Maharaj, can I bring up Radha Govinda? He would reply, quote, of course, certainly, and in anticipation. You are showing us how to be internal in our practice of Krishna consciousness by your example, chanting, reading Srila Prabhupada books, Bhagavad Gita, CC, Srimad Bhagavatam, 1 hour during breakfast and 1.5 hours during lunch. One of the most amazing daily experience for me, hearing the scriptures in your association and you commenting and also sharing what Srila Prabhupada would say. Your writing corresponding with disciples and devotees worldwide, full day on scheduled service. Sometimes it seems as though the day is not sufficient to complete the service at Bhavan. Daily you would ask, how are you? And you would say, thank you. Please allow me to say, thank you, Guru Maharaj, for I am aboard a ship that has a rudder, begging to remain her eternal service, Krishna Devi Dasi.
As many of the devotees already mentioned about your books, I also want to say something about that. I live sometime in the Philadelphia temple, and every Thursday we read from the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, and it's very enlightening, and everybody is so happy. And on Srila Prabhupada Disappearance Day, we read from one of the books, instead of different devotees talking. And I remember about your website, when Mother Kalini was here, I would ask her, how is Sasur Maharaj? She would say, just go to the website. So she said, just part of my sadhana. Every day I read this website, you should read too. And so I'm happy that you're writing again, and I read. Just, the books again. The first time I wrote you a letter, I told you about I was reading your books. And you said, this is good, but you should also read Prabhupada books. So not just the disciples, but your books are always going to be there for generation to come. Thank you very much for everything. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Here's the microphone.
Okay. All glories to you. Please accept my most humble obeisance. Thank you for letting me get here without getting lost in it. It was amazing. I turned down Stockton's Falls and here I was. But as always, as everyone else has said, no matter what other devotees have said or anybody else, you are a pure devotee. Nobody can contest that. Not in this lifetime or any other. Thank you for your mercy and for accepting my very small donations and for accepting me, the big Buddha that I am.
Please accept my humble obeisances. So, I was just remembering a few years ago, we were involved in some preaching under the authority of Kalakanta Prabhu in Jacksonville. And we were preaching, we weren't in charge of it, but we were the senior devotees there. I guess I'm old enough now, I've been around long enough that I can be called a senior devotee. But there were some young people who were running the college preaching there, and we were in the area, and we would be invited to lead kirtans and give class. Nobody knew how to lead a kirtan, really. Nobody had really many of Prabhupada's books, and we would read from Bhagavad Gita and discuss it, and it was a very kind of open, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It wasn't like a strict bhakti program. We were very much easing people into it, and I was a little chafing at the bit because I was like, no, hit him over the head. But they were like, no, we gotta go slow. There was a lot of yoga scene and everything like that. And one day we were going to do a program, and I decided, let's read the Lilamrita. And so we have a bunch of copies that we've collected over the years. We bought a bunch at once, and if we find more, we get them. And, the little one-volume one.
Yeah.
And so we handed them out. It was maybe 8, 10, 12 people, I'm not sure. It was a while back. And I said, okay, here's this book. It's an old book. And actually, I think it's available online now, correct? You can get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I was kind of wanting some inspirations, like what can I say to them to make them want to read this book? Because we weren't giving them out, but I wanted them to somehow get the book. We're just lending them for the program. And I said, don't read this book if you want to become a devotee of Krishna. And they looked at it, and then several of them immediately pulled out their smartphones and go on Amazon. And we read the book, and it was quite exciting because, you know, it was we started at the beginning, it was the whole New York scene and, you know, young people coming to Krishna so they could relate, you know. And some of them have gone on to become devotees of Krishna. And I don't know how much of the book they've read because of circumstances we had to leave that service. But I've always said, if a person wants to become a devotee of Krishna, they should read that book. That's what did it for me, because I moved into the ashram. It was very difficult. And, you know, people move into the ashram, they come and they go, you know, for whatever reason. And just prior to moving into the ashram, I was reading Natalie Goldberg, you know, her books well, Wild Mind. And so she writes, I'm not sure if it's this book, that book, or one other book of hers, she says, if you want to, when you read a book, you read a book to know who the author is. It's not so much what the book is about, although that's there also, but you also learn what the author is about. So I was reading Prabhupada's books, and it was, you know, kind of going over my head. Everything was very difficult. And then I started to find your books. And I remember reading Lilamrita, and I remember during japa period, I used to go into the room on the second floor, and Ram Roy Prabhu had his little space there. And he would be in there, and I would be, you know, sitting in there chanting japa or reading, and he'd come out to me and just walk away. And I remember reading the book and just reading about Prabhupada and how amazing Prabhupada was, and then I thought to myself, who wrote this? Who wrote this? Who captured this person? And then I look at the book cover and I was like, I can't pronounce his name. And then after that, more and more books, and there were so many of your disciples there at the time, Leela Vrindavan, Bhakti Lail, Trivikram, Devaki, Keshi Hanta Prabhu, you know, and they all became my very good friends. And while I'm thinking of it, I have to congratulate you. You have the best disciples, minus myself. You have the best disciples. I can't, you know, it's amazing to me. So anyways, I don't want to take up too much time, but I just wanted to thank you. Your later books, that was the thing too. Still difficult in the ashram, even though I'm committed now. But the more intimate books, for people who are, you know, getting serious, that was the connection that I had that I didn't seem to be able to make with other people. The very, very intimate connection with another mind and heart that is sometimes doubting, sometimes questioning, sometimes sad, sometimes, you know, blissful, everything. It's like, okay, real people are doing this. There's a real person here who's doing this, and it's not just a facade of I'm a devotee, I'm a pure devotee, and nothing ever goes wrong. So I want to thank you for that intimate connection, and for your awesome disciples, and for, you know, just making it seem like whatever I was looking for in the world, I could find it in Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
I picked up just something caught my attention when your pranam mantra was being read. A couple words, Bhaktivedanta Shikshitam. And that's always been a very serious part of my relationship with you, because I joined when Prabhupada was still on the planet, and thinking, well, I guess I'll become his disciple. And then he left, and you were the first sannyasi I ever met. And you were so much reflecting Prabhupada and preaching about Prabhupada and remembering Prabhupada. And you really represented Prabhupada so nicely, and you gave Prabhupada. You weren't giving anything else. You weren't presenting yourself. You're completely transparent. So that's what I remember when I heard those words, Bhaktivedanta Shikshitam. They're very appropriate. And they won my heart.
Because I was able to leave my old mother back in Trinidad and everything else and come to this little house called Viraha Bhavan and to experience what I think most people is not experiencing. They know a lot about the other things that you did, your books, all your preaching, all your services to Prabhupada. But there are some things that is very personal and takes place in that little house. And I'd like to share one of those things. And you all could try, anybody here could try to follow a schedule that you're following at your age. Up to this day, everything's so on time. And it's very demanding. That's one of the things that I think is very, very inspiring and amazing, how you could still do that. And some things you would say to us in the house when you would leave after prasadam. You might just say, see you later, Prabhus. But one thing I would like to say as well is that this, for the disciples, the spiritual master, and this day we glorify and we show some gratitude and we try to praise and pour our hearts out. But as you all can see, at some point in time, the spiritual master, he needs caring for. So today is presenting an opportunity to glorify and honor him. But this is also presenting an opportunity to praise and honor him. And I don't think it's the responsibility of 2 or 3 of his disciples to do that. But it's all of us responsibility to take care for the person we love and care so much.
Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today we are gathered here to try and express our deepest gratitude to you, Guru Maharaj. All glories to you on this special day of your appearance. Dearest Guru Maharaj, how merciful you are in offering us Srila Prabhupada in the Parampara. We see by your always determined effort the seriousness in trying to carry out the orders of the spiritual master. We see by your example how to dedicate oneself to follow the spiritual master's instructions. You teach us by your deep meditations and worship how to serve Krishna at all times. Dear Guru Maharaj, you've given us this special opportunity to perfect our lives by sharing in your full faith in Srila Prabhupada's instructions and teachings. You have offered us a clear path to make spiritual advancement by dutifully writing about Srila Prabhupada, and through this remembrance of his instructions, we too can stay connected to Krishna. It is this Prabhupada's smarana we must all share. This remembrance you are so kindly offering us through your large works of writings. We must remember Srila Prabhupada's instructions. We must remember his example. We must remember his dedication and remember his commitment. How can we possibly, even meagerly, come up to Srila Prabhupada's standards? This is definitively illustrated and is thus available through your writings. Srila Prabhupada has written that if by the chance the conditioned soul meets a saintly person who works on Krishna's behalf, and if he agrees to abide by his order, he can gradually approach Krishna and attain his shelter. So this is why your disciples are here, both because you've attained this goal and that you are offering this amazing opportunity for us to follow. By remembering Srila Prabhupada, we get Krishna. As the godbrothers of yours once wrote, Maharaj is not just giving us information about Prabhupada, he is giving us love for Srila Prabhupada. I would like to conclude by sharing a comment Dinabandhu expressed. Dinabandhu is just past 69 years old, which is the age Srila Prabhupada left for America. And as Dinabandhu said, it is no fun. We cannot imagine at 69 crossing the ocean. In the same light, how can one imagine at your age of, am I allowed to say? 79, continuously remaining so absorbed and dedicated in your Radha Govinda worship and your commitment to the holy name. Please bless me so I too can attain serious dedication to the teachings and instructions of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Well, anyways, Harish just said it's like 30 years. I think it's like 40 years. We're pushing 40 years with this relationship. And then Baladev was mentioning, I started reading the books, you know. The devotees kind of scared me, but I got the books from my dad, and I thought they were the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen, but I wasn't sure what to make of the devotees there. But after wrangling with that for about a year or so, it was just nothing else going on. It was the only game in town, so I was going to try to suck it up. But I had some serious, I wasn't sure. Like Prabhupada had a lot of substance. There was something going on with Prabhupada, and these devotees were trying to do it, but I sort of couldn't make the connection between what Prabhupada was talking about and what the devotees seemed to wish to experience in a daily way. And you know, Krishna makes arrangements. There was a few devotees who came and boasted my confidence, but one thing I will say, I visited the temple once before I moved in, and then I moved in. And both times, you know, the devotees would tell me, oh, SDG Homages is coming. You know, these are the devotees who are taking up the mantle of Prabhupada. I was very reassured, you know, I was very reassured. Like I think Harish and others are saying, there's just that, and there's just that genuine sense of being a disciple and wanting to sincerely follow in the footsteps of what Prabhupada laid down and continue that tradition. And as we all know, it's not always easy, no matter what you're doing, what to speak of that important service of giving shelter to others and continuing what Prabhupada established with so much blood, sweat, and tears there, and much joy. So somehow I got here again, and I just want to thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah.
I want to read some parts of it. Let's see. Things, since we're talking a lot about Lilamrita, I wanted to share one experience I had about that. One thing I like the very simple statement you made about the Homages that you put in your recent writing. Let's see if I can find it here. I had an experience. I was talking. There's one devotee who comes on the Harinam every day after work, a young Indian guy, and he spends 1 or 2 hours distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And I saw him at the Brooklyn Temple, and I was asking him, how is it that you're so inspired to, like practically nobody does that after work. Every single day they just distribute books for 1 or 2 hours. He said, well, I was just a nominal devotee until I read Srila Prabhupada Lamrita. And when I saw all the things that Srila Prabhupada was willing to do to share his teaching of Krishna with the world, I saw his complete dedication. I realized that I should do something. And he told me that I actually have many friends, many other young Indians who also weren't very serious about devotional service, but they read Lilamrita and it changed, it sort of woke them up. And that was very impressive to me, the power of that writing. And I told our book distributors on our party who tried to sell books to the Indians, sell them this Prabhupada Lilamrita. You have a very beautiful section in a recent free writing where you talk about the Gayatri Mantra and how the Guru is enthused and he enthuses us. And you there glorify Srila Prabhupada for his enthusiasm. You quote him as saying that if I wasn't enthusiastic, how could I come to your country at this age? And so I was thinking about your enthusiasm. And like people ask me, because they know I'm your disciple, how's Sasut Maharaj? And I say, well, he's although he's 79 years old, he's getting up at 2 in the morning and chanting his japa, and every meal he hears Prabhupada's books, and every day he writes, and every year he comes out with another book. And it's just amazing to think that somebody at your age can be so focused and so inspiring, and I actually feel happy to tell them that. No. I can't even get up at 2 o'clock now and chant my japas. I don't know whether I'll get to that point when I'm 79, but I see sometimes people spacing their rounds out throughout the day, and I think with great gratitude that I always chant my rounds first thing in the morning because you always chant your rounds first thing in the morning, and because, as somebody mentioned, you quoted in Japa Reform Notebook that the most important duty to the Guru is to chant the 16 rounds. So that's like, you wrote me when I was in Philadelphia that I said I chanted my japa by 10 o'clock every day, and you said that like Raghunath Das Goswami, his sadhana was like lines grooved in a stone. And you said you should be like that. So, by your mercy, somehow or other I get up every day and I chant 16 rounds. And thank you for that, and thank you for your books, which inspire not only people who are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but as I'm learning from my relationship with Reverend John, inspire all sincere spiritual seekers, whoever they may be, wherever they may be. Thank you.
So thank you, Guru Maharaj, for writing such wonderful books. In fact, this last Kartik, we had every single night reading of your books. Wow. And so many devotees joined for that. So we read the qualities of Sri Krishna, and they're just so amazed that the author seems to have captured Srila Prabhupada's intent, mood, purpose in the nectar of devotion. And Guru Maharaj, you have captured the essence of Srila Prabhupada. And for those of us who cannot understand Srila Prabhupada, cannot digest his books, you have pre-digested them for us through your books. And then finally when we read his books, we can understand, yes, makes sense. So I just wanted to have a very short offering. The dictionary defines the word pioneer as a person who is among the first to explore or settle a new country or area. Like the Wild West, many of those pioneers who went out there. It takes a huge amount of courage and faith to do something, to venture into an area which is unknown. Or used as a verb, you can say to develop or be the first to use or apply a new method or knowledge or activity, so to pioneer something. So in the 52-year history of ISKCON, we've seen lots of pioneer devotees who've broken barriers of geography, race, religion, language, and spread this message of Srila Prabhupada around the world in remote corners, as well as major cities. Srila Prabhupada himself is a pioneer, bar none. He fulfilled the incredible vision of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Mahaprabhu, and he gave this gift to the world, to us. So I would like to submit that Guru Maharaj has been and continues to lead the way, pioneering into the deepest recesses of his heart, and inviting us to follow along with him in our quest to become more and more genuinely Krishna conscious. Our minds and hearts are the final frontier, more difficult to penetrate than the snows of Siberia or the deserts of the Middle East. To break through our internal barriers of challenges, difficulties, obstacles, and come in touch with our authentic self, our eternal position of servant of Krishna, to put aside all our masks and find our real relationship with the Lord and His holy name. That is true pioneer spirit. And he continues to blaze the way through with his incredible, simple to understand writings as well as poetry. So I'm not a poet, but I wrote a little one just now. I am not this body you have boldly taught. I'm really not fat, nor am I thin. Krishna is the Lord, my true and real friend. You tell us not to worry. He will free us from sin. Continue your chanting, follow Prabhupada through thick and thin. You can never lose, you will always win, because the final frontier is not without, the final frontier is deep within. Hare Krishna.
Satsvarupa Vidamman Neviritam Sarvasham Bhakti Grantham Vekam Bhakti Vedanta Shikshitam. I wrote an offering, but I'd like to quote a bit of a poem. Empowered teacher of Krishna consciousness. You are very great. You are Krishna to me, because I know him only through you. You bring him to the world. So I pray to you, begging to remain in your service. Krishna is in my heart, but I do not know it. There's a part of an offering I have. I wanted to congratulate you on the production of your books, the latest book, Varaha Bhavam Journal. You've given us such a nice series of books, very dedicated to every Vyas Puja for the last several years, making sure that we completed a new offering to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, Smaranam, and your 3-volume biography, autobiography. And so many books, and your devotion to that is Haitikiya Pratiyata, unceasing, constant. your gifts. It's the same for all your gifts to us. We're surrounded in this room by an ocean of color, your paintings, and you infuse so much bhakti into your art. And if we're fortunate enough to have a piece of your art, it's actually like you're personally showing us a bit of the spiritual world, a window of the spiritual world. And fortunately, more and more people are starting to appreciate your art as well as your books. The Museum of Sacred Art in Belgium has so many of your paintings on permanent collection, gradually more and more. I just wanted to say also that so many of these devotees, great devotees of yours, are glorifying you as the perfect model of following Srila Prabhupada. And I also wanted to add my name to that list. But at the same time, we should recognize, and I aspire one day to recognize that you are, in your own right, a bona fide spiritual master. And you, by taking shelter of your lotus feet, one can achieve the paths back to Godhead. You are empowered by Krishna and Guru to take all of us, to take me. If I become one day qualified. And I'm so grateful for this tiny service that you allow me to do in assisting with your writing projects. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.